Hey! How you doing? Whoa. I got a knot in my microphone. Yeah, there we go. I'll edit that out, no problem. How you doing? How you doing? It's like a week and a half to Christmas. This is the time of year where everybody kind of kicks back and takes it easy. By the way, I got a lot of information from various sources, and it seems to be being picked up other places too, that there's identification, and then we have to ask the question, why are the drones flying overhead at night? There's only 3 plausible sources. 2 of them are not really plausible. Those are training, which wouldn't account for the numbers, and the other one would be, an intro to Project Bluebeam, which seems incredibly unlikely. And the other one is onboard gamma ray detectors. I have a friend with a source on the inside, his most reliable source, and I've known him my entire life, and he told him that that's what they're looking for. To be honest, I don't know if I'd want to be in the New York, New Jersey area over the next 10 to 20 days, but that's pure speculation on my part. However, the number of sources that are reporting on this is growing rather than diminishing. Oh, also, too, this is confirmed. You can make of this what you will. The U.S. government ordered over 250,000 of anti-radiation medication. I don't know if it's potassium iodine or another. There's a few different ones. I forget the name of it. But, yeah. We'll see if that pans out or not. Let's certainly hope that it doesn't. This is something I've been harping on for a long time. I really have only got a list of a few books here. And that is that school and college, and I spent many years in college. However, I hung out in the university library, which you've actually got a really good university library. Go to the sources on all the greatest materials, and I've always said that you understand what somebody knows or doesn't know by the stuff that they recommend you read. I mean, not like exciting fiction or whatnot, but like, what's the most intelligent thing that you've read? And you can always tell. It's like, well, my favorite stuff is so-and-so, Kierkegaard or Leibniz, or like, oh, really? That's like the most intelligent stuff you've read? By the way, I get no kickbacks from the sale of this book and of the few books that I was going to mention this evening. No. I didn't know it, but they've already sold like 2,000 copies of this. I wrote the introduction to this. You got my name right here in the bottom. It's right at 790 pages long. This is translations of Thomas Taylor. This is printed on archival acid-free paper from Gallo Glass Books, located down in Florida. I have a link for ordering this. Once again, it doesn't matter if 10 people or 0 people or 100 people buy this book off of me mentioning it. I don't make a dime off of that, okay? So I don't want you to think I'm promoting something just because I wrote the introduction, or, there's not an affiliate link to this book below. Anyway, translations of Plotinus, also 2 Proclus's commentary on the elements of theology, and Porphyry's comments and writings, one which is my favorite, on the Homeric cave of the nymphs and on the perceptions of the intelligibles in nature. Very important are actually this is the best translation of Plotinus to exist by Thomas Taylor, the most prolific ancient Koine Greek translator. Very, very potent stuff. They say they have the publisher like 500 copies of this book left. This is a keystone to a foundational understanding of both metaphysics and also too of, they say Neoplatonism is rather ridiculous. I mean, I've used the word myself a million times. To say Neoplatonism is no different than saying Platonism, no different than saying Pythagoreanism, and all of those are just silly terms that we came up with later. What it is about monistic metaphysics, which is the complete opposite of materialism/atheism, and also, too, the complete opposite of religion, which is, of course, secularized metaphysics, any and all creationistic religion. The total opposite of both of those. Most people, unfortunately, in our world know of only those two things. Either you have a faith, or you're like a, you're a miserable nihilist slash materialist slash atheist. And atheism, as the Greeks ideated it, had nothing to do with rejection or acceptance, etc., of God. It had to do with a denial of metaphysical substrates. In other words, a denial of the signal. True atheism, by the way, is called metaphysical atheism, which has nothing to do with God. Nothing. It has to do with the denial that, oh, we got a radio here, but there's no such thing as a signal. It's like, what?
Central Kentucky.
It's called metaphysical atheism. Anyway, that is what that whole genre is, and it encapsulates from several different cultures, both ancient Greek, Indian, and Egyptian, different slants on one and the same thing, since nothing is known except through the modality of the knower. Advaita Vedanta, original Buddhism, and I do stress original. And by the way, the word Buddhism is also, too, just like the word Neoplatonism and Platonism, nonsense terms. Gautama called his teaching Samhita Nikaya 5.4 Brahmayana, which means path to the absolute. No different than talking about monism. No different. No. Also, too, the things we call Neoplatonism, Advaita Vedanta, Sri Sankaracharya, and I've recommended a couple books here. But anyway, this is a great book. It's a little over 790 pages long, printed on archival acid-free paper. I have the link below from Gallo Glass Books. They do now ship internationally. Initially, they did not, but they do now. And there's a little under or right at 500 copies left from what I've told. It's a great book. Unlike a lot of books, like, well, I have to start here, make my way through here. This is not like that. You could actually, close your eyes and open anywhere up to the writings of Plotinus and start reading at random. A lot of people now, since everybody's so busy to make ends meet, they have 10 or 20 minutes in the evening to read something good to exercise their brain, or, sprinkle some water on the foliage of their brain, and this is the best stuff. Life is too short to read garbage. I've said that many times, so check this book out. I have a few copies for my own. And another one, and this is a really, really bad cover. It's like the most cheesy artwork. India is very famous for this cheesy religious artwork. But really, it is also, too, monistic metaphysics, no different than Neoplatonism. It's another great book that you can just close your eyes and open it up anywhere and start reading. A lot of people like books like that, and so do I, honestly. There's an ancient master of monistic metaphysics called Sri Sankaracharya, also, too, called Sankara. There are only two genuine works that are attributed to him, and this is one of them. And I have the link below in the description, and also, to a pinned comment. Means 1,000 verses translated into English, the Upadisa Sahasri. It's a collection of incredibly wise sayings about the nature of self, embodiment, desire, the universe, basically everything. It's a really, really fantastical work. This is chapter 12 on light. I just opened up spontaneously to this, just as a man might erroneously look upon his body placed in the sun as having the property of light in it. So, too, he looks upon the intellect pervaded by the reflection of pure consciousness as the self. In this case, it means self with a capital S, i.e. the transcendent self. This is really, really good stuff to read and to think about. And also, too, the Vivechudamani, also, too, by the same author, founder of Advaita Vedanta, that would be Sri Sankaracharya. The other one, I didn't bring every book out here. This is a book I've recommended to countless thousands of people. I've literally had thousands of people read it. It's called the PERIPHYSEON by John the Scot, or John Scorsese Regina. It's on the division of nature. There's only a few books written in Latin that are worth reading. One of them, this PERIPHYSEON de Divina Proportione, Theoria Philosophiae Naturalis. But this is it, the PERIPHYSEON. They've since republished it. Thankfully, it's like $30, I think, on Amazon. I have the link below for it. Another one, I didn't bring it out here. It's a 4-volume set. It's absolutely brilliant. It's translated by Swami Nikalananda, and it has the commentary of Sri Sankaracharya. It's the 4-volume sets, the 4-volume set of the Upanishads. They actually have it in a really cheap, inexpensive collection. I think it's like $65. The whole 4-volume set. I'm still recovering from being sick. My voice is a little off. The whole 4-volume set of the principal Upanishads. This is my only living author that I respect. She's a friend of mine. Don't get any kickbacks for recommending her book. Her name is Deirdre Carabine. She sent me a video that I could post to my YouTube channel, which I did a couple, 3 years ago. This is on original apophaticism vis-a-vis the Platonists and others. This is by my friend and author Deirdre Carabine. It's called The Unknown God. I have the link for it below. Also, just a masterful piece of brilliance. If you want to know about retroduction, the via negativa, or the negatio negationis, also goes by apophaticism, via negativa, neti neti, anada, on and on and on. It's really a very brilliant book. She's a wonderful Irish intellectual. She's retired to Uganda. A very thick Irish accent. She's such a sweet lady. So, the only living author that I respect. Yes, very lovely lady, Deirdre Carabine. This is I know you can still get this in hardcover, but I have a link below in softcover, but it is available in hardcover. About 75%, if not a little bit more, of everything he wrote was accurate, which is incredibly high praise. Most so-called philosophers, which are not philosophers, are less than about 20 or 25% accurate. So saying 65, 70% accuracy is incredibly high praise from me. There's a lot of diagrams in this. This is a brilliant read. This is a copy of this was given to Nikola Tesla, and he praised the book endlessly. This book, The Universal One by Walter Russell. Walter Russell has written a few other works, obviously so. The Divine Iliad, etc., etc., etc. But this is his best work. The Secret of Light is another one I would recommend. Look up The Secret of Light by Walter Russell. But like a book, I'd say like a teenager could wrap his brain around, and every adult. It's just absolutely brilliant. Walter Russell was also, too, an extremely skilled artisan and sculptor. Nobody was taught in school that Walter Russell's diagram of the elements is way, way, way better and superior. It goes off of harmonic octaves, and he discovered several elements before they were actually discovered because he saw that there were these empty spaces in the harmonic octaves that the elements follow. And you and I were not taught about that stuff in school, but we should have been. We absolutely should have been. What he actually understands about pressure and charge and discharge is one of his diagrams. There's a lot of these throughout the book. Are absolutely brilliant. I can't recommend this book high enough. It's Walter Russell's The Universal One. Also, too, I have that link below in the description. Orpheus and the Roots of Platonism is the only other book other than this one by Algis Udavinius that I would recommend. This is the really super. I can't imagine how many thousands of people who bought this book off my recommendation. It's also, excuse me, it's called Philosophies of Rite, Rebirth by Algis Udavinius. This is also, too, gives people an insight into theurgy. I am, of course, writing a book on retroduction right now, and I'm working on a book on theurgy. There's a lot of books that I have in the works. Ironically enough, I get hounded many times about when am I going to be finished with something. It's like, all the books and articles that I write, which is quite a lot, are for free. It feels kind of odd that I would get hounded about the books that I write that are for free. But nevertheless, I do. That's perfectly okay. Sometimes it gets slightly irritating. But this is Rituals of Deification and Theurgic Ascent, Hierarchy and Priority of Posterity, Visible and Divisible Being. Is a really a great book by Algis Udavinius. I wished he was still alive. that I could talk to him. We'd have a lot in common and a lot of stuff to discuss. But the most important thing that I keep repeating, and I don't know how many of you believe me on this, I don't even need this iPad in front of me to talk about this stuff. I've lectured on this and talked about it endlessly. By the way, I love these big beefy pencils. Yeah? There's something magical about these big beefy pencils. Is that you can get a superior education by studying about 10%, actually less than 10%, way less, basically 5%, of all the stuff that you're forced to read and memorize, and the garbage that you were taught was important in school. It's not important at all. Here's a saying of my own, and it's undeniable. Intelligence and knowledge breeds misery. Not that I'm an anti-intellectual, but only wisdom actually brings peace and understanding. Yeah. Knowledge brings misery. If you find me somebody that's extremely intelligent and knowledgeable, has a lot of facts in their head, and I'll show you a miserable person. Only wisdom brings peace. To truly understand this universe and how things work and the motives that people have for the things that they do, which is very, very simple. You could boil it down very simple. Doesn't require you to memorize all these useless garbage facts. And I'm not anti-intellectual at all. I can guarantee you I have read more than... There's none of you out there that have read as much as I have. I mean, that's not my feeling or opinion, that's a fact. My head is full of a lot of facts, but I don't praise intelligence, and nor do I praise knowledge. Episteme versus gnosis. Gnosis is self-proximity, is understanding. You know, you can read all the books about leatherwork. I do leatherwork, for example. I read 10 books on leatherwork. Well, have you ever made anything? No, I haven't, but why should I? I've read all the books on how to do it. Till you get your hands in there and know what you're doing, you know, it's not the same. It's kind of like, you know, got a picture of a bowl of soup isn't going to feed anybody, or as the Chinese say, talk, not cook rice. You heard that saying? Talk, not cook rice. Which is a nice way of saying talk is cheap. Knowledge is cheap too. Wisdom can't be destroyed, but knowledge could be destroyed. And say you get in a bad car wreck, and your brain is scrambled. You can't even remember your own name. All those useless facts that you gathered up in your head have no importance. I'm saying a path to superior understanding requires that you slowly read, and not just read, obviously think about, like some of these books that I just recommended. The key to a superior education, the word education is wrong. Key to superior understanding. I mean, if you understand the way nature works, the flow of things, you know, the foundation of cosmic mechanics, what drives people, what drives nature, you don't need to fill your head with 10 billion useless facts. Like, I got a toolbox in my head, I could build anything. Someone might have read every book on earth about how to build a house. But it doesn't mean, you know, you give them a box of tools like, you know, go build me a house. I don't know. I mean, you read every book. I have read every book. It's about having that toolbox in your head. One that's indestructible, true understanding, true wisdom. You know, all the animals that know how to survive in wintertime and eat and forage and hunt, and, you know, their head is not full of any facts. I'm not saying, you know, be like an ignorant animal, but I'm saying that they know the way things work, and they're able to get things done. You know, there's plenty of people with Harvard degrees that don't know anything. Very famously, I had that guy, you know, the expert on countless topics in Buddhism. This guy said, well, you don't know what you're talking about. And he sent me his degree from Harvard, and it was real, his certificate. He was graduated from Harvard with a master's in religious studies with a key study in Buddhism. It's like, this guy didn't have any facts to present, no evidences, no logic, no citations, which of course everything is sola scriptura. It's like, even if you don't have the doctrinal citations, which is a necessity, at the very least you should have the logic to back up your claims. But he had none of that. Well, how dare you? Where's your degree from? The same degree that Plato and Pythagoras had, and Plotinus and Shakespeare and Aristotle, which is to say none. You have to have a desire for understanding, to think about it deeply, to think about it clearly. Because as Nikola Tesla said, you have to be able to think clearly. You can be quite crazy and be a deep thinker. You know, nut wards are full of people that are very, very deep thinkers and incredibly intelligent, but they can't think clearly, and that's why they're there in a padded room sometimes. Well, he has a 200 IQ. He scored perfectly on the essays. Like, why is he in a padded room? Well, because he's crazy. That's not to say he's dumb. He just doesn't, he can't think clearly. You know, he's talking to pink elephants and, you know, communicating with the wall. Is that why he's in the padded room? Another example, and there, you know this is true, there's countless examples of this. My point is that life is miserable enough. Wouldn't you like a simpler path? All these masters, like Plotinus, Porphyry, Syrianus, Damasius, Proclus, people that write stuff so absolutely impenetrable, it would make your brain melt. These people didn't, you know, get an education like you and I got. You know, go home and memorize chapters 2 through 4. We'll have a multiple guess test tomorrow. Multiple guess test. Yeah, multiple. They didn't get that. They got taught in a superior methodology to thinking. That's the only way to learn anything. Would you rather your head be full of useless facts, or would you rather have a toolbox to decipher, figure out, and understand everything you encounter in life? Be able to see through people, being able to see through all the subterfuge and all the ways that people try to hoodoo you, and on and on and on. Isn't being able to see clearly and think clearly and being able to see through people far, far, far superior? This is the reason why some of the people with the, I get a big degree from Stanford or Harvard, these people don't know how to do anything. They barely know how to tie their own shoes. This doesn't mean I'm anti-intellectual. What I'm saying is that there is a path to superior understanding, and it lies through those books, but you just can't read them with your brain turned off. You have to slowly read them, and you have to think about them at the same time. Yeah, but you only have to consume about 5 to 10%, actually less than 10%, of the materials that you would be in a normal education. Even the people that hate me don't think I'm dumb or, you know, unwise. I hate that guy. He's really, really smart, and he knows a lot of stuff, but I don't like him. Well, who cares, you know? Maybe he has something to say that's relevant. I mean, wouldn't you like to consume 95% less materials in your education to understand yourself and this universe and the people around you and the way nature works? Wouldn't you? Everybody would. Think of the countless years you and me and everybody else wasted memorizing and regurgitating useless garbage. Do you remember any of your trigonometry, your I'm not saying that's not useful. You know, if you get a specific degree in engineering, you don't even need to know that stuff because it's all bring it up on your iPad or your iPhone. That's the reason we got calculators. You don't have to memorize that garbage. Just think of all the countless things that you wasted your life studying and they told you it was important. It wasn't important at all. What if you went to school or a high school or college and were told, you know, we're going to teach you how to think better and clearly, and this is going to benefit you throughout your entire life. And it's not going to be about memorizing garbage and multiple guess tests. It's going to be about comprehension and genuine understanding. You can stay dumb for the rest of your life, and that's your choice. Or you could live a happier, more peaceful life by understanding people and things and nature around you. And if you choose that, I guarantee you there's not going to be a bunch of homework and tests, and you know, you're not going to have to consume book after book after book of useless, irrelevant, garbage, gobbledygook. Well, that's for me. There you go. Anyway, Feliz Navidad. Merry Christmas to all of you. I have the links to these books below. And I hope you have a calm rest of your week. Okay? Thank you.